walk around the compound. Gonna walk around the compound. Walk around the compound. Yes, we're gonna walk around. Walk around the compound. Gonna walk around the compound. Walk around the compound. Yes, we're gonna walk around.
Okay, what we got here. 1, someone's out in the driveway. 2, they've got their summer haircut, summer fashion, that very much so showcases winter chub. The summer fashion that highlights the winter poundage that has been gained. And it's crazy because we haven't been doing crazy. I keep on saying crazy. It's so crazy because the craziness and all these Uncle Derek's used llamas being sold at crazy prices. But we haven't been overdoing it with the feed. She gets llama food. We haven't been overdoing it with llama food. But we've been getting so much rain. And the grass has just been growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And she is just surrounded by smorgasbord. Just smorgasbord everywhere. So she's got a little bit of extra, a bit of extra tum-tum. Just a little. Just a little. Hello, all you big cat lovers out there. It's me, Derek, again. Welcome to another super duper fantastic episode of the Walk Around the Compound webcast. Hi. What if I, Melissa, I'm trying to find like the right, I don't know what this face is. It's like I'm surprised, but like angry at the same time. Oh God! I've just been, man. I don't even know what I was said. I don't know what was said or what wasn't. I was talking for a long time, and then I looked up and I didn't notice. I noticed that the numbers at the top that are indicating that we're recording, the numbers weren't numbering. Don't know what I was saying, or what I wasn't saying, or what was heard. But I was trying to tell Melissa. I was trying to give an editor's note, a creator's note to the editor, basically saying just like whatever face that I make that you want to capture for the purposes of thumbnailing, you do you. I'm not here to tell you which thumbnail you're supposed to get. Right? Noe. I can't tell. Can't tell if you're in a flopping mood. Can't tell if you're really I don't think you are just yet. And I threw it on the ground. Nope, we're just being. Okay. I thought I might be able to kind of comedically time, a kadunk. But it was not to be. It was not to be. Whoa. Whoa. Find out he hasn't been blind this entire time. He's been conning us. Oh my gosh. She was peeing, which you can see. That's disgusting. You can actually see that section of fence has been discolored. Do you just go up there to pee? What is that all about? Okay, there's one there. There's one there. And then there's another one there. Okay, 1p, 2p, red p, go see the doctor. God. Malika, we're finding out like a new layer of weirdness that you got going on. What's up with that? Come on down here. Let's talk. That is, this appears Tuesday P-zone. Don't you understand? Why are you make question? It's Tuesday P-zone. The boy. He's like, huh. The boy. Hi. Had to turn the waterfall off. Hi, Will. Hi, Will's Yams. Will's Yams. Good boy. You're a good boy. All right. I did something the other day. I went out of my comfort zone, tried something new. Every once in a while, I get a hankering for some sort of like oven-based, like baked fish thing, whether it be fish sticks or cod fillets. Just kind of take, like, not all the time, but it's a thing that kind of takes me back to, there's like a nostalgia, there's a childhood kind of thing. So yeah, every once in a while I'm just like, you know what, I feel like some fish sticks right now. Was that fish sticks on Thursdays? What was the Rain Man thing? What was his fish stick day? Like, down in the comments below. Tell us your thoughts on the matter. Like and subscribe. But I normally go for Gorton's brand, like battered fish products. And again, they're not the most, I will admit, not the most healthy thing to eat. Not the most healthy. That's why it's like an occasional treat. If I was eating like 200 fish sticks a day, I would hope that one of you would like try to, organize an intervention of some sorts. And like, hey, Derek, we're all concerned. What's this about? Why are you guys all here? When you're on fish sticks, you're just not the same. You're not the same. Oh God, that actually scared me. Oh God. You talking about fish sticks? And I knew, I should know better, and I should know that these are distinct possibilities, and I should have even known that he was side-eyeing me, because he was. I had all of these signs, and I'm just like, what-do-do? And then all I could hear was just like, because you don't hear his feet from there to there, but you do hear his feet from like there to there. And then that's where, so they're close to you. They're super close, and you're like, because then all of a sudden you know that something big and fast is going like right behind you. Even though like it's a thing that I've dealt with for years. I mean years. Going on 18 years now. Isn't that nuts? It's still has the power to like, oh God. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, in recent memory, I have been eating some Gorton's. Some Gorton's battered/baked fish products, and they've been good. I've been having a run of success the last few years, and it's like when I say it's like every other month, maybe once a month, I'm just like, let me go ahead and just like, let me throw some battered fish products in the oven. Put some tartar sauce on them. That'd be delightful. It'll remind me of childhood. And Gorton's kind of does that for me. It gets me. I don't remember ever eating that stuff. I think that we just had like kind of more generic brands in our household. And recently, I saw Mrs. Paul's. Was a slightly cheaper option. It was in the same section. Slightly cheaper than Gorton's. And I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to try this. I've heard of Mrs. Paul's battered fish products. Let me try it. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. It was not of the same caliber and quality. It was, whereas Gorton's comes out crispy on the outside and well even cooked on the inside, and it's flavorful. There's flavors in the batter. Mrs. Paul's was flimsy and damp and sad, and like eating. Someone took some wet cardboard and threw it in a microwave and wrapped it around a ball of canned tuna. And I'm like, this didn't remind me of childhood at all. And of course, I don't know, like if it's one of those kind of, like when you pick up the characteristics of different generations, I do have that thing of just like, I'm not going to waste the food. The food was put, I have to eat the food. Maybe that's like coming from like having grandparents that were in the Depression or something. So then I will, if I'm given a plate, it's like I have a hard time throwing stuff out even if I don't like it. I'm like, this is making me miserable, but I can't throw it out. I have to eat it. Rarely do I say like, this is so bad, I have to toss it. More often I will say like, I guess this is what I'm eating right now. This is one of those moments where I have to tell myself, eat to live, don't live to eat. Frown the entire time. Feel sorry for myself. But just get through it. Junie! Anyone have like any similar experiences where it's like, and I'm talking about like, like large scale commercial, like well-known commercial products. Like home products. I'm talking like, I used to be like, I love Tide, and I would use Tide for my laundry detergent for years, and then I tried Gain once, and then my washer blew up. Like something, that's what I'm looking for. Like, anyone have any experiences like that where it's like, you know what, I used this product for a long time, I heard this other thing, maybe it was a more economical option, never again. I'd be curious to hear that. Or maybe it worked out the other way, where it's like, you know what, I went for the cheaper option, best decision I ever made in my life. It opened my eyes. It was basically like, taking the red pill in the Matrix. The movie, not the, like, stuff that happens in, like, late stage 4chan. Early onset 4chan is like it's like fun and it's cheeky and it's like, oh, you rascals. Late stage 4chan is like, oh my gosh, like I don't think that there's any cure. Ah, God, I was looking away. You have terminal 4chan. Oh God, I need to get my affairs in order. What you got? What you got there? You just carrying around a big old hip bone? That's cool. She's enjoying it. Oh boy. Oh, Max and me are chasing each other around. That was the sounds that they were making. So we've got some carnage happening over here, and then we've basically got some like Disney cartoon sounds, like you know, happening over here. So many different things that can happen at the care facility. CareRescueTexas.com. I went and saw, I saw a couple good movies recently. I went and saw the new Furiosa, which that was that's one of those ones where like I talked to Heidi and I'm just like, hey, do you want to see it? And she's like, that's more of a you thing. And I'm like, I'm going to go to the movie by myself. Matinee for me. Which that's always like, if you ever have the opportunity to go and see, you know, a midday movie by yourself, please do it. It's just great. If you love cinema, you like movies, you got to do it. Nothing better in the world. I do like the Mad Max movies. I played the Mad Max video game. Super big fan of the new season of Fortnite, which is, they say it's Fallout themed, but it is clearly Mad Max themed. And you could tell that they were probably trying to strike a deal with whoever owns the IP for Mad Max, but they just couldn't do it. But then they basically said, Epic Games probably just said, fine, we're going to make our own Mad Max, but with liquor and blackjack and hookers. So, you know, I went and saw Furiosa, loved it. Not doing the greatest at the box office, but that's been a few movies like what's his face, was it the Fall Guy? Ryan Gosling struggled. That, and I remember like walking out of that one, and I think we went and saw it like opening weekend, thinking like, man, that's gonna make a ton of money, and that one struggled. So like the summer blockbuster is having a hard time this year for some reason. And it's like movies that a lot of people like critically, like critics like it, and audiences, like both of those movies, critics and audiences were just kind of like, yeah, thumbs up. This is a good experience at the, it just didn't get keisters and seats. That's all. No keisters and seats. Whoa, bless you, my child. Yeah, the theater I went to, I think it was me and like one guy. There was like me, there was like a dad and like his teenage son, and then there was like another dude like, that was it, like in the theater. And it was disappointing because like I always like it when movies I like it when they do well. Because then, like, it always makes you think, like, well, if it does well now, then maybe the same creative team will make more of that thing that you like. But yeah, it was definitely very much so, you know, like of the same, you know, vision. Was it George Miller? Yeah. I mean, it clearly come from that guy's head. It's from the same universe. It's a movie that takes place in the Mad Max universe, but it is kind of more distinctly not so explicitly a Mad Max movie. It's its own movie. Furiosa is its own kind of thing. It's her own story, and it's great. And she's a great character, and she's a great original thing and an original idea. Hi. Hi, sugar pie. Hi, beautiful. Hi, baby girl. Hi, sugar pie. Yes, you're so good. You're so pretty. So pretty, 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 pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I love you. 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 I love you, love you, love you. Love you, love you, love you, Miss Cara. If I just talk nice to you, maybe you'll be a little bit nicer too, and then you'll think and question your prior ways and be a better lion. No, you won't. Tried. I tried. What is the matter with you? What, do you still have meat? It's probably just a bone by now. It probably has no meat on it. I don't quite believe you. I think most of it is already inside of your tummy. You are making a big stink over limited resources, much like, you know, the thing that causes so much of the tension in those Mad Max movies. It's a post-apocalyptic world, limited resources, people fight over those resources. I will say, and it expanded on the lore of the Mad Max universe. But I was already familiar with a lot of that stuff because they explored a lot of it in the video game, the 2015 video game, which I liked. I liked a lot. It wasn't the greatest game in the world, but I liked it. But it went into the idea of, like, you know, the class structures and the power dynamics. It went into, oh, here's Gastown and here's the Bullet Farm and these different kind of like fortress domains, and yeah, which I'm just like, I'm here for it. It's one of those kind of things where it's like you'll watch it because it's a type of, I would say it's a type of fantasy because it's larger than life, and even though it's based on you know, like, oh, it takes place in this kind of post-apocalyptic thing, and it's, for the most part, you could say it's using technology that already exists, sure, but it's presented almost like in this way of like fantasy or mythology, I guess. There's a lot of mythological themes, it seems like, to the Mad Max world. There's over-the-top, larger-than-life characters that are more metaphor than actual, you know, beings. They're more symbolic than actual, like, fleshed out, like, people, in a way. I don't know. It's interesting. But there's times where you'll watch fantasy movies. You'll watch a sci-fi thing, and you think of it like, man, what would it be like to live in that? That would be so cool, and I would love to, if I lived in this universe, I would like to be like this type of person over here and this type of skill set. What will matter? Will matter? Hey, sugar pie. Hey, sugar pie. Okay. Yeah, you see these different kind of like fantastical things, and you're like, you put yourself into like those settings. But then I look at Mad Max and be like, that would not be fun. That would not be fun. It is a brutal and unforgiving world that does not seem like it would be a treat. It is only a treat. And even like when you have to do it like treat, like in quotes, for like a limited few at the very tippy top, you know, of the junk heaps, the top wastelanders. But even then, it's like when people talk about, I was born in the wrong era, and I wish I could live in like the 1600s in France, and I would be a noble. And it's like, even if you were like a member of the aristocracy, like living at that time would suck. Because quality of life for even like poor people now is like way better than it ever was, even for the richest of people like a few centuries ago. It's just how technological progress kind of works. Now, it's not to say that I think that I would be a competent wastelander. It's not just like, okay, just because you would be good at the thing doesn't mean that, like, that's where your heart is. I did a 20-year career in the military, And I had to do a lot of things where it's like, no, this is not where my heart is. Well, it doesn't matter. We need you to go to this station over here. We need you to do this. We need you to take on this role. We need you to do this job. We need you to supervise this person, this group. This is not where my heart is. Loud and clear. Do it anyway. Copy all. Proceed. Hi, baby. Yeah, I think I would be, but the other thing too is like, I know that people will say like, I would kind of be like a rebel, kind of like Max. I'd be like a Mad Max type. And it's like, no. I would be probably one of the, not like the top warlord guys, but I would be like an advisor. You know, like one of like a chieftain in the war, like one of the warlord's armies. I'd be pretty comfortable in that role. I think so. And, you know, like my guys would all be like, we'd have our own kind of thing. Like, we put our horns on, you know, like on our backs. Bunch of horns. Not on our heads, 'cause that's dumb. That's what those other guys do. We do horns differently. Like, horns and spikes. That's what it's like horns and spikes and Macho Man Randy Savage frills and stuff like that. It's like, really, it's about where you put them. It just kind of signifies like what kind of clan you are in the Mad Max world. It doesn't have to be too complicated. So yeah. Fighting over limited resources. Kind of like, it's one of the things that sometimes I fear. It is one of the things that sometimes I fear about the captive big cat scene. In some places, like the Sanctuary Wildlife Park, smaller zoo world. And this isn't me kind of saying that the recent passage of certain laws was necessarily a bad thing, but there's always going to be side effects anytime that you make a large sweeping kind of change. But there was the big cats and public safety thing that got passed, which restricted ownership of big cats. And it's like, basically, it's like if you privately owned one of the stipulations was if you privately own big cats, you get to be grandfathered in, you get to keep your cats for now, you just can't get new ones. And it just slowly is going to like kind of cut off the supply. Doesn't mean that people are going to stop. I mean, not necessarily. Like, anytime that there's, like throughout like the course of American history, people say like, well, you can't do this thing and this thing and this thing. And there's always going to be a group of people over here who like say like, well, secretly I am going to do this thing and this thing and this thing. I think that the laws and the messaging and the attitudes about captive cats in private hands, I think it's a lot different now than maybe it used to be. There's still people that probably want to have them. But I think the big thing is that there's less unregulated or difficult to account for breeding that was happening. And it was happening in a lot of places. A lot of different traveling shows, they would breed and they would make cats because you would be able to utilize cats, you know, especially like a lot of picture taking type opportunities. It was a USDA regulated thing for the longest time, and they basically said like, you know, from this age to this age, you can use this cat for public picture taking, but after a certain point, you can't use it. Now, people, of course, would push that to its absolute utmost limit, but you always ran the risk of a USDA agent or a USDA inspector, like just like randomly dropping into wherever you were set up at, whether it be a state fair or like a county thing or a park or, you know, like a motorcycle rally. Like they would always, like for the longest time in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, there was a big cub petting industry, and there were breeders that could kind of help fill that demand. But now that internal, which it was an internal thing. It was all happening here, like in the continental United States. Now, depending on like what state or what county you were in, there may be some more kind of laws that were put on you. But for the longest time, there was no like national, federal kind of framework of law and regulation. But with the recent passage of those laws, it has been effectively just shut down via like attrition, basically. It's saying like, okay, like any of the people who operated and did stuff with cats, like we're not saying that you have to just like surrender your cats now and just turn them in at the, the sign at the saloon that says just like, you gotta check in your guns at the edge of town, kind of check in your taggers. No, nothing like that. But the passage of that law, it kind of started almost like a clock, if you will, where it's basically like there's a finite resource, and that's tigers and lions in small situations like this, captive situations, and there's a limited amount because they ain't making any more. Basically, like this is like when Bitcoin like stops mining, like when the Big Cats and Public Safety Act passed, it was almost like, okay, like we're not, no more tiger mining right now, no more tiger coin mining. It's it. Basically all the tiger coins that are out in circulation is all that ever is going to be in circulation. And like I said, ultimately, like getting more visibility and oversight into what were a lot of very murky and shady industries. And this is also, and I'm not going to say that there weren't good and care, like, and I'm going to say this might sound controversial, but there absolutely were very like good and ethical and caring people who were a part of that industry. There really were. There really, really were. And there were like people that I'm sure that you might be surprised at, people that you admire, people that you look up to, and be like, oh my gosh, yeah. And on the flip side, there were also a lot of people who they were unethical. They only saw these animals just as like profit squeezing devices. They didn't take care of them appropriately. They kept on just trying to mass produce them. And then they had all the genetic issues. There was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of animals that ended up going into places that they never should have. Because that was the other big thing where basically it's like, so there was like this constant demand. So if you had like a short window in which you could use cubs for picture taking, so you had a small window. I don't know what the actual window was. I think it was like from maybe like, it was something like 8 to 10 weeks all the way up to maybe like 16 or 18 weeks. So it was like really like you had like a few months legally. Again, people pushed it. Because of course, like an inspector might show up and like, how old is that tiger? And it's like huge. And they're just like, it's a baby. Like that happened all the time. That happened a lot. But eventually even the people who like were just kind of like really kind of like playing like hard and fast, even they would be like, all right, I got to get rid of this tiger. Like I can't use it for pictures anymore. It's too big. I'm not going to use it as a breeder. So and they would be at like a state fair or something and be like, you got a big backyard? What? Yeah, here you go. Like that stuff happened. And that's where a lot of, because people always say just like, oh, these rich assholes that have tigers and they get them. And it's like, really a lot of times, like the people who had the resources necessary to take care of these animals, usually you never heard about them. And usually their animals were very well tended to. It's like the people who are just like, sure, why not? Like, let me just go and get some dog kennel panels from Lowe's. Stitch them up in the backyard of my double wide. My neighbors won't have a problem with that. I know what I'm doing. That type of stuff was the real issue. Anyway, I digress. I'm getting off topic. Started off basically like this clock of sorts where tiger mining is over. And now there's like all the tigers that we have here. And I think about this because a lot of the tigers that we have here, like we have 24 of the big guys, lions and tigers. And there was a point where we had like when I I think the most that we had since I've been here is like maybe 58. I don't think we ever cracked 60 while I was here. They've been definitely beyond 60. I think Heidi had over 70 at one point. But it's like the number would kind of go up and down. It would fluctuate for a long time when the industry was still kind of going on, and when the like rescues still needed to happen. When like we had to catch the overflow pieces from the unethical actors, or not always the unethical. Sometimes people that were either just wanted to retire from that life, or maybe things just got to be too much. Like they just had a bad run, they had a bad year, maybe they had some health issues, they couldn't take care of their animals as well as they could before. Again, like I'm never gonna just sit there, like everything is complicated. I'm never gonna sit there and say like anyone that owned these cats or anyone that made money off of these cats, they're just evil and evil people, and we should just other them. You're not ever gonna hear me say that, and it might upset people to know that that's kind of my stance. But like many things, it's complicated. Yeah, there was a lot of real nasty folks out there, but not everyone that was engaged in such activity was a nasty folk. You know what I'm saying? That being said, probably still for the best that the industry, by and large, like was just like kind of forced to just take a bow. And that means that places like this are slowly gonna just kind of drift into the breeze and fade. Oh, yeah. So yeah, think about that. I think about that. We have 24 cats here right now, and like, I don't think we're never gonna have 25. You know what I'm saying? And it's either likely gonna be Allie or Kiara or Luca or Jake are gonna be the next ones to go. And once one of them passes, then we're gonna have 23. And then we're never going to have 24 again. And then the next one passes, and we're going to have 22. And then we're never going to have 23 again. Depending on how the facility kind of like aligns itself, you know, and maybe different animals that you take in, or the different types of like construction projects, or the different ways that we kind of like manage and like kind of market the facility, there may be a future in which like we just, you know, continuously have, you know, like we're the retirement home kind of angle for wayward big cats, and even like a lot of zoo cats, which that's the other thing. We're getting a lot more goodwill from the zoo types, which is good. But no, the magic is kind of leaving. And it's not to say that that's, again, not ultimately like, oh, this is what we do. And anyone that works with big cat, and I've heard this within the sanctuary circles for a long time, and I'm sure that there are some people who truly believe this, but I bet you a lot of people, it's just the line that they say, but it kills them. Because when I think of it, it affects me. Because when people say like, well, like one of the best case scenario is that a place like this never has to exist. And then if we can basically work ourselves out of a job, that's the best thing that could happen. And yes, morally, logically, that is correct. It's the right way of looking at things. But spiritually, emotionally, and like how you set up like a lot of like your life, there's a lot of conflict with that. Because when you think like, well, this is what I've dedicated the last 18 years. Heidi is over 30. But we've been like dedicating years and years and years of our lives, and that's a weird thing. And then all of a sudden, you have to be presented possibly more than likely, potentially, in the not too distant future, I'm not going to hear that sound that we just heard a few minutes ago. It's like there's going to be a day when there's going to be no more lion roars in my backyard. Again, logically, morally, that's good, but emotionally, that's hard. You know what I'm saying? It is. But it is what it is. And that's why it's like I talk about this stuff, because like talking helps you process and it helps you kind of get yourself ready, which the more Heidi and I kind of like talk about these types of things, the more we are ready. It's still gonna, it's gonna hit us like the slowest moving freight train in the world, but it's like, yeah, we're ready to, see that change. It's gonna take years. And hopefully we can still manage to kind of maintain, the steady course of that ship. Keep the rudder going as the facility kind of like, kind of drifts off into the mist. I guess the facility as you know it right now. The place where all the tigers live. Who knows? Maybe this place will be a place where other animals live. Maybe there's going to be another type of animal that can kind of find a home here. Who knows? Right now, it's still tiger home. It's still kitty home. But yeah, and the only reason I was talking about this and kind of bringing it up was because it's that idea of like limited resources. Because you have to think, we're not the only ones that think this. We're not the only ones that see this or see the writing on the wall and know that these animals here, everyone is going to have, like, they're basically holding limited resources. Now, the other thing, a lot of these organizations, they're nonprofit organizations, and they have sanctuary associations, and they have sanctuary or zoologic affiliations. They have all sorts of like acronym type things next to their names to credential them and to show people that they're, like more serious and that they have like a certain degree of standards, and that's all good and that's fine. But I do worry that as time goes on and we get further and further away from that recent legislation and these animals do become more and more of a finite resource, that there's gonna be more Mad Max type stuff. That there's going to be other organizations who are going to try to resist the inevitable. Basically, the heat death of the universe. But when it, like, just imagine entropy, but for lion and tiger sanctuaries, like across the country. Or like non-accredited zoos. So then you have to sit there and think like, all right, well, I can't be breeding more cats and everything, but maybe if I throw enough rocks at this, so I'm an owner over here, or I'm an operator of a place over here, and I see that guy down over there, maybe a couple counties or a couple states away, and I can sit there and pick apart some of the things that they do about their stuff, and I can get enough people to be convinced that they do a bad job of caring for their animals. Maybe eventually we can get that place shut down. And then, oh my gosh, look at all these animals that now need to be saved. Well, come right in. I worry that type of stuff might happen. I worry that type of stuff, and I pay attention to rhetoric. I pay attention to the different types of people that say stuff. What types of things that they say. Are you an advocate or are you an aggressor? Like, what's your whole deal? It is one of those things. Instead of Gas Town, like, this here's Tiger Town. And I'm standing up on top of that building with a shotgun, just being just like, come and take them. Yeah. No, that's all metaphorical. That's not literal. That's no, actually, Derek, don't say that, because like there was a guy they like kind of did that, and then it got really kind of crazy, and then basically prompted a lot of the laws to get made in the first place. No, it's more of like a thing where it's like you want to I want to stand firm in the knowledge that like we do a good job of taking care of our animals. We can stand next to the care that we give them, and that if there are ever times where people, and I haven't seen, well, I have made it onto certain people's radar. Yes, some of my previous forays into social media have caught the attention of certain other people within the big cat world who aren't really so much people in the big cat world now. But it has more to do with being able to defend yourself from, slings and arrows, from people trying to wind up the mob, which that's a big thing. Some people are good at winding up a mob. So you always got to be on the lookout for who's doing stuff like that. I think the mature thing is to just be thankful and be grateful for the time that we have, the limited time, the finite time that we still have with these animals. A lot of us are still going to enjoy many years of being able to care for some of the greatest and most beautiful and most wonderful animals that the world has ever known. But there's going to be a time for most of the people that work with these animals in the country that it's going to go away. And it's like, for most of us, for most of the people, it's like less than 20 years for most people. Yeah. Most people, it's going to be within 10 to 15. You got to sit there and think, like the kids. They're the youngest tigers that we have here. And they're what, 4, 5? They're coming up on 5. And like, okay, yeah, maybe Cal makes it to 20. Maybe. And then that's it. You know? It's crazy to think of it in those terms. But I want to start planting the seeds of those nuggets into everyone's heads now. Why do you want to make me sad? No, I want to just, let's think about it. Let's talk about it. Let's prepare for it. And then let's try to be okay with it. And then just still enjoy it and love it while we have these precious moments with them. Because we still do. We still got a lot of good time. There's a lot of snuffles yet to be had. So, that's all I got to say about that. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of the Walk Around the Compound webcast. Hashtag Dormus the Ward in the comment section below. Like and subscribe for all of your big cat goodness. And if you want to learn more about the facility around me, you can always visit the website carerescuetexas.com for more information. You keep those tigers fed. Big shout out to the extra fancy patrons. I see you. You are so fancy. And thank you so much for your continued support. And we'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye.
Monkeys buttered toast. Munchie saw a ghost. Mika weighs the most.